Tanzanians go to the polls today, 28th October 2020. And what an eventful election it has been. And maybe eventful is not quite the right word to use. Because what we have seen in Tanzania are the kinds of elections that embarrass the continent of Africa. They are what Wazungus use to say that we Africans have no idea what we're doing. Information just in is that the Tanzanian government has shut down social media and all SMS. You can't send SMS, you can't be on social media as we approach voting on this 28th day of October 2020. We have seen this pattern repeated in Kenya, Uganda, and very many other African countries. And usually the problem is when an incumbent, a sitting president, seeks re-election, you're bound to see a lot of funny, dodgy things that normally culminate in the election being rigged. In short, as we say on this channel, pop, 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 duly elected. Maybe the time has come for African countries to consider introducing a new law where a president can go to parliament and seek a majority vote to extend their term for another 5 years, instead of wasting resources in this comedy of elections that end up embarrassing Africans terribly. Anyway, in Tanzania, we have seen all the telltale signs and even evidence that this poll is most likely going to be fiddled with. And what are the telltale signs? There's one we saw in Kenya, and we have seen it in Tanzania. When a government in power accuses the opposition of planning to rig the presidential election, that is a clear sign. That is a clear sign that the government in power will do exactly what they're telling us the opposition is planning to do. Let me explain. Politics is ruled by perception. The facts don't really matter. What matters is what the people perceive to be the truth. And so when you're the first to accuse your opponent of possible rigging, you cleanse your name. You cleanse your party in the eyes of the public. Because people will say, we were told by the government that the opposition is going to rig the elections. So how are you now telling us that the government actually rigged the elections? Can't be true. That's how it works out. Indeed, in 2007 in Kenya, in the presidential elections, we saw this tactic being upgraded in a very smart move that fooled very many intelligent people. What Mwai Kibaki's team did then was to go to Luo Nyanza, and they rigged the election in Luo Nyanza in some constituencies in favor of Raila Odinga. I hope I don't lose you. I said the government rigged the presidential election on behalf of Raila Odinga in some constituencies in Luo Nyanza. Just hold your peace. You'll understand in a minute. And so when the same government massively rigged the same election for Mwai Kibaki in the rest of Kenya, and the international community accused him, Mwai Kibaki handlers simply produced the evidence, proving that the election had been rigged in Nyanza. And this confused very many people, because they said, Allah, you mean the opposition also rigged the election? Yes, we know the government rigged, But the opposition also rigged the election. And we have been shown the evidence. So both sides rigged. Yeah, so the government is not so guilty after all. Maybe they even won. Yeah, because both sides rigged. Hey. Now, let's get a few facts very clear. It is absolutely impossible for an opposition candidate to rig a presidential election. Of course, it is possible for a member of parliament or another representative to rig a constituency election. It has been done many times. But for the opposition to rig a presidential election, that one is completely impossible. It's not possible. It can never happen. How? Because the government controls everything. It controls that election. It controls every single polling station. Yep. And maybe this is a ploy we'll see repeated somewhere in Africa in the not too distant future. Yeah, because it was ingenious. Back to Tanzania, we have seen the government accusing the opposition of planning to rig the election. So immediately I had this piece of information. I knew that this was a clear sign. Another sign that an election is going to be stolen are the campaigns of the incumbent. When you see the incumbent behaving in a draconian way, even during the campaigns, then you know they're not worried about losing the election, which means that they're going to rig it. We have seen in Tanzania the opposition being frustrated in their campaigns. Just yesterday, the Tanzanian civil authority refused to clear Tundu Lissu's chopper to fly from Arusha, Kilimanjaro Airport, to Dar-es-salaam for his last campaigns within the city. We have also seen the opposition presidential candidate, the same Tundu Lissu, being banned from campaigning for a few days. Why? Because he allegedly went against election rules. How did he do this? By remarks he made during the campaign. Now, Tundu Lissu is a lawyer by profession. He understands the law. And so his opponents knew that if he was given a chance to defend himself against the accusations, they would not win. And therefore they organized it in such a way that he never had the opportunity to defend himself legally against the so-called accusations. And he lost several days of campaigning. Yep. During electioneering period, when you see the incumbent doing things that don't make sense for somebody who's looking for votes, then you know definitely they know they're going to win that election. Win in quotes. By rigging it. And then a few days ago, a curious, strange, very bizarre incident unfolded at the University of Dar-es-salaam. It was suspected that ballot papers were being pre-marked in favor of the incumbent. Coincidentally, there was even a power outage for a few hours. And some people have claimed it was not a coincidence. The whole idea was to mask, hide in the cover of darkness what was really going down. What was happening at the University of Dar-es-salaam may be difficult to prove. But in front of your screens right now are some very interesting statistics from Tanzania. Never mind the typos and spelling errors, as long as we understand what this document is actually telling us. The big box shows the total population of Tanzania. And then you see the percentages. And especially the percentage of the population eligible to vote. Yeah, because you have to be 18 to vote. And clearly, the number of 29 million registered voters appears to be inflated by over 9 million votes. And then on the right, you see comparisons of figures from the US, India, and Kenya. You can take a brief look. Now let us break this down. Now, before people do this kind of fiddling with statistics, they need information. What kind of information? Simply put, is how many votes do we need to rig this election? Or how many ghost votes do we need to win? In Kenya, usually dead voters cast their vote. Indeed, as we speak, dead voters have never been removed from the IEBC register of registered voters. Anyway, my point is, it would appear that the incumbent is short of about 9 million votes to win. That would suggest that the opposition presidential candidate has between 5 and 8 million votes more than the incumbent. Because when your opponent is very popular, then what you have to do to make the whole thing believable is to make the win narrow. In 2007, in Kenya, Mwai Kibaki allegedly beat Raila Odinga by a mere 200,000 votes. But Tanzania is slightly different. It's a huge country with many remote areas. It is a vote fiddler's paradise, if you can put it like that. And you can create a win, a rigged win of 2 million votes or more, and nobody will notice. Because verifying things on the ground is a huge challenge. Tanzania is the size of Kenya and Uganda put together, and you still need more land area. It's a huge country, most of it very remote. Now this tells us something very interesting. You see, the opposition in Tanzania has been gradually gaining against CCM over the years, since 2010. This is not something which happened overnight. This is not something which has happened during the reign of the current incumbent. No. So now we know, or at least we have a pretty good idea, of what to expect from the Tanzanian election results. Now, there's something else here which should worry every African. The ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi, CCM, has often accused the opposition of being funded by foreign entities, foreigners who have interests in Tanzania. And that accusation is easy to believe. The truth is, there are a lot of powerful foreign entities that would like to see President John Pombe Magufuli out of power as soon as possible. We know that. And we know the reasons why. Because if we leave out his draconian measures, and very poor human rights record, President Magufuli has done things which have benefited Tanzanians enormously and will benefit Tanzanians for many years to come. However, the cost has been upsetting very many foreign powers, who will lose as Tanzanians gain. That is a fact. And what would be the last straw? Yeah, Magufuli's policies over the Wuhan virus, yeah, which we have seen. And it has really angered some very powerful people in the world. And it is a no-brainer that these people would heavily finance the opposition and do everything and anything in their power to remove Magufuli, yeah, from the presidency and to remove CCM. Yeah, that one is rather obvious. However, now we are faced with something else, something which many Africans have never realized. Rigging an election is a very expensive exercise. And in a country that is as large as Tanzania, the cost is colossal. What does this tell you? It tells you that a country would need foreign aid, foreign financing to successfully rig an election. It would also require foreign backing. And politics the world over is a very messy, dirty affair. My point is, any such foreign backing would come with conditions. Yeah, we'll do this for you, and you do this for us in return. That's how it works. And of course, all this is not good for Africa and for the future of Africa. And that is why I repeat again that maybe the time has come for African countries to seriously look at this issue of incumbent presidents seeking re-election. It is even better to give a presidential candidate only one term in office. Make it 7 years or 8 years or even 10 years. And avoid forcing that incumbent to go for re-election. That would be much better than what we are seeing unfolding in Tanzania and what is normal in Africa. Normal but not good. Normal but very damaging to the continent. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.